He doesn't gallop in fire or blood. He walks slow, unseen. The black horse rides when shelves grow thin, when wallets stretch but can't feed a child. He holds scales, not a sword, and his silence is louder than bombs. You won't hear him arrive, but you'll feel him when your neighbor goes hungry and your comfort starts to vanish. He doesn't bring war, he brings imbalance. A day's wage for bread, says the voice. Not famine by drought, but famine by system, by control. The Black Rider doesn't starve everyone, just enough to divide, to ignite fear, to make people choose between survival and soul. And when food becomes power, mercy becomes rare. It starts subtle. Prices creep, shelves change, choices shrink. Then comes the panic, quiet at first, then loud. The black horse never runs. He waits while we scramble, while nations hoard, while lies rise. And as the weight of the world tips, his balance shifts justice into manipulation. Scarcity becomes currency, and hunger becomes control. But he doesn't just attack the body, he targets hope. He whispers, there's not enough. Not enough food, not enough jobs, not enough future. And people begin to believe it. Despair multiplies faster than hunger, and soon they trade integrity for security, spirit for scraps. The black horse feeds on desperation, and the world keeps feeding him. He rides through economies, boardrooms, food chains. He doesn't need famine, just the illusion of it. A rumor, a crisis, a policy. And suddenly nations panic, families break, churches struggle. He doesn't knock, he's already inside. The black horse thrives not where food is gone, but where fear replaces trust. And that's happening now. Not all hunger shows in bones. Some wear suits, some smile on screens. But the soul feels the emptiness, the weight of not having control. The black horse doesn't need dust and flies to reign. He just needs systems broken enough that people stop believing they're safe. And when hope costs more than bread, starvation begins inside. He poisons abundance with fear. Even when there is food, it feels like not enough. Supermarkets become battlegrounds. Online markets twist into traps. He turns neighbors into competitors. He turns need into paranoia. And just like that, trust dissolves. Not because food ran out, but because fear ran wild. The rider carries scales, but they aren't just for wheat. They weigh worth. They measure what a soul will trade to survive. A lie for a job, a compromise for safety, a silence for peace. And in that silence, injustice flourishes. Because when survival costs your values, the famine has already won. He doesn't arrive with headlines. He arrives with policies, inflation, interest, scarcity made profitable. The world keeps moving, but slower. Families adjust, cut, ration. And yet, the black horse rides faster, not on hunger, but on hopelessness. And when faith is replaced by fear, famine doesn't need to knock. It owns the door. But there's another famine, one of truth. While the world watches prices, it misses the lies. While it fears hunger, it swallows deception. The black horse doesn't just empty plates, he empties minds. And a people who can't discern truth are always starving, even when their stomachs are full. The greatest scarcity isn't food, it's discernment, and the black horse thrives in confusion. People scream about economy, yet ignore the erosion of empathy. He rides quietly behind trends, behind policies, behind panic. Because his goal is never just empty plates, it's empty hearts. And the world keeps trading compassion for convenience. This rider doesn't need to rule nations, he just needs to rule fear. When fear sets the price, everything becomes negotiable. Morality bends, trust collapses, community fractures. And in the name of survival, people sacrifice what made them human. The black horse doesn't demand submission. He simply waits for compromise. He whispers in the boardrooms. He tempts the powerful with profit from crisis. Sell the scarcity, price the panic. And while people argue about prices, systems shift. power concentrates, the few gain more, the many lose hope. And through all this, the Black Rider smiles. Because every coin gained through fear feeds his horse. He thrives in silence, in cities that look rich but feel empty, in homes where the table is full but the soul is starving. He doesn't only ride through poor lands, he rides through proud ones, through cold hearts. He doesn't break economies, he breaks vision. He makes people believe this is normal, this is just how it is now. And yet the famine that hurts most is spiritual, a people disconnected from purpose, churches focused on crowds, not compassion, faith traded for influence. And as the soul starves, the black horse gallops faster, because when people forget the bread of life, every other hunger becomes unbearable. The scales in his hand aren't tools, they're tests of justice, of integrity. He offers deals that look fair but demand too much. You'll have bread, he says, but you'll pay in peace. And many accept, because when fear screams louder than faith, compromise feels like wisdom. But every soul that trades truth feeds the famine deeper. He doesn't fear revolution, he fears revelation, that someone might see through the scarcity, that people might unite in compassion instead of panic. The churches might rise in generosity, not greed, because the one thing the black horse cannot starve is a soul fed by purpose, driven by truth, and anchored in love. Every generation sees hunger, but the famine of now is different. It's organized, structured, monetized, and the rider moves through digital aisles, coded markets, silent approvals. The black horse adapted. And unless we awaken, he'll ride through our comfort zones, unnoticed, unchallenged, until abundance becomes illusion. And while the world debates statistics, he changes stories. While leaders manage optics, he manipulates outcomes. The Black Rider is not just famine. He is distraction, he is distortion, he is the quiet reprogramming of priorities. And if the soul forgets what truly satisfies, the rider never has to run, he's already home. But hope is still possible, because the famine isn't final. If people choose truth over panic, if generosity replaces greed, if faith rises where fear ruled, then the scales shift, then the horse slows. And in the darkest famine, light still breaks, not through policies, but through people who remember who they really are. He slows when people share what little they have, when churches become places of sacrifice, not show, when leaders choose justice, not profit. In that resistance, he stumbles, because the black horse cannot run where truth is louder than fear. And every meal shared in love is a wall he cannot cross. Even now, some feed more than mouths. They feed faith. They invest in truth, not trends. And in those places the rider hesitates, because famine loses power where purpose thrives. He fears those who give freely, who pray deeply, who love wildly, and when light multiplies, famine fractures. Still, the question echoes, is he riding now? Are we already living the prophecy? Some say it's symbolic, others literal. But maybe the truth is simpler. The black horse rides wherever hearts grow cold, wherever systems crush the weak. And if we don't see it, it's because we're already used to it. So, we watch, we reflect, we choose. Because famine may be a rider, but we are not helpless. Every act of compassion is rebellion, every truth spoken, resistance. And though the seal is broken, the story isn't over. The famine has a name, but so does hope. And the one who holds the scroll still reigns. The black horse rides, but not forever. His power ends where love begins, where truth stands, where faith refuses to break. So now, the choice remains, feed the fear, or feed the flame of hope. The famine is real, but so is the light that overcomes it. The question is, what are you feeding?